don't realize about Nashim Tzidkaniyot. Rashi had so much sass. The Gemara in Pesachim says, "V'amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, Nashim chayavot b'arba'a kosot halalu." Women are obligated in 4 cups of wine. Why? She'af hein hayubo toanes, because they too were part of the miracle. I think what people don't realize is that Rashi is actually responding to this almost with vengeance towards the small-mindedness of the phrase. They were part of the miracle? Like, excuse me. Bischar Nashim Tzidkaniyot shebo to ador nigalu. It's because of these righteous women that this generation was delivered from Egypt. It's because of them that we were redeemed every single step of the way. A simple reading of the text would agree. And what I want to do in the next few minutes is take a moment to remind ourselves and look with a fresh perspective at their strength and conviction at what Rashi is telling us. Paroh comes out with this terrifying edict and finds the main midwives, Shifra and Puah, to speak to them about it. Im benhu v'hamitenoto. Shifra and Puah, it's incredible, right? Paroh says to them, if it's a boy, I don't even want to say it. I want you to kill him. And it's so shocking, Shifra and Puah's ability with so much strength to stand up to the status quo, to say no to this dangerously terrifying dictator. The Torah takes 8 verses, 8 psukim, these painstaking psukim of this terrifying conversation with Paroh. And there is so much humanity and natural morality expressed in their downright refusal to participate in the killing of these newborn babies. Rav Yaakov Meidan points out that Shifra and Puah established the first underground in history of a slave nation rising up against its subjugators. They had such inner strength. The very next story, the very next words, we see Tzipporah, who, despite the decree, does everything humanly possible to have a child. And when she can't hide him anymore, to save that child, she builds the ark and defiantly places him in the Nile, a place of death that she turns into a place of life. Right, Moshe's sister, presumably Miriam, watching him, making sure that he is safe and can jump in the moment that she needs to be there, the moment that there's a hesitation of who's going to nurse him, who's going to take care of him. She's holding on to every ounce of hope, continuing the work of her mother. But let's talk about Bat Paroh, right? Paroh's daughter. Can you imagine the daughter of Hitler, Yimach Shemo, saving a Jew, raising him in her house despite her father's death warrant, right? Kol haben hayilod hayeora tashlichuhu. Drown every baby boy. And yet, she goes to astonishing lengths to keep him alive. The daughter of the very man who's leading this genocide, vatachmol alav. She sees him crying. She takes pity on him. She ensures that he is raised in the palace. And we have story after story of women defying the social norms of those around them, defying the status quo, which they know is cruel. They know that it's wrong. And of course, we can only imagine for Miriam, as the Jewish people leave Egypt, when she is singing and leading the women in Az Yashir, what's going through her mind, right? The Midrash tells us that her parents, they didn't want to have more children. They lost their emotional energy. They lost their desire for intimacy. And what was the point? Bringing them into a world where their sons would be killed, or even if they weren't killed, and anyone with these years of back-breaking, soul-breaking enslavement with that labor. But she pushes her parents. And that moment of Az Yashir, that spontaneous song from the depths of her soul, knowing that's because of her efforts, her inner conviction, that all of this was happening. So yes, Rashi says, Bischar Nashim Tzidkaniyot sheba'oto hador nigalu. This Pesach, let's give thanks to those Nashim Tzidkaniyot in our lives, to those who lead their lives with such strength, with conviction, who constantly remind us of our values and give our lives direction. Chag Kasher V'Sameach.